Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel, as I say, for those who land here maybe for the first time. Glad you're here. Hope you stick around. I'm a Fefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond, tarot reader for 30 some odd years, and also a former newspaper journalist and initiated priestess in Wiccan and African traditions. So I use all of that to try and, get some good content. We go to spirit and get some insight. It's not about hard and fast predictions always, but my record is pretty halfway decent. But definitely we get greater insight into what the heck is going on, all the things, right? All the things. Today, really interesting. I want to go to spirit around, so Bill Pulte standing in or sitting in temporarily after Tulsi Gabbard's exit for Director of National Intelligence, right? Congress went ballistic around that and said, no way, no how, in HE double hockey sticks are we going to cement and approve Bill Pulte for anything long term. So Trump makes a move and says, okay, I got you. So how about this guy, Jay Clayton, an attorney out of New York, if I believe. Some interesting background on him. What else would we expect? But here's the deal. He was supposed to go before Congress for what was assumed was going to be pretty much a breeze of confirmation hearings today, to come in and replace Bill Pulte as the acting or as the director for national intelligence, right? All of a sudden, out of the blue, while oh boy, Trump is still at the G7 thing, or maybe headed back now, jumps up and says, we ain't doing it. We ain't gonna have the confirmation hearing. Why? Because while FISA or FISA, however we say it, the Intelligence Surveillance Act, right, that expired on June 12th, they're trying to get it reenacted. The act supposedly helps mitigate any damages from foreign intelligence, right, or hijacking national intelligence by foreign entities. The problem, as many of you know, is that everything's been twisted now, so that the real goal is to surveil Americans. And that has been a hiccup, right? Democrats have said, oh, wait a minute. We know at this point what this Pentagon and this government has been up to, so we ain't on board with it until you give us some reassurances. Trump jumps up and says, okay, so I'm going to yank the guy that may have been more qualified. Ooh, I gotta put that in quotes. Qualified, Jay Clayton, to remove Bill Pulte, since none of y'all can stand him. But in order for me to let that go forward, Congress are gonna have to go approve my voting rights, save America, the voting rights bill, or the voting ID bill. Let me put it that way. We know all of the issues around that, because it's about passports. It's about providing, like, the whole process to register for voting would be much more complicated. No mail-in registrations for voting, or online registrations for voting. You got to show up somewhere and show a passport, show a birth certificate. All of the talk that's been around, the quandary that puts, married women whose names have changed, military members who may be stationed abroad, first-time voters, many young people who don't have passports. The 51%, I saw a stat, you all, 51% of Americans don't have a passport. So those are many reasons why people are like, that is clear election interference. Is Trump deliberately putting national security at risk so he can have his way and force Congress to cave on his voter ID bill? Sun comes right at the bottom of the deck, y'all, with the Magician and Judgment. All right, Spirit, give me and the world. Give me the whole reading off the bottom of the deck, and the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Ace of Cups, the Emperor, the Hierophant. Y'all, you saw me shuffling this deck as I was talking. I shuffled the heck out of this deck before I even started taping. So I'm going to take this reading off the bottom of the deck. This is a very, very powerful issue. When I'm looking at all these major arcana, I'm going to show them to you. Spirit's not playing today. This is huge. Okay. Because again, the question is this man blowing up, essentially hijacking for entertainment purposes only, right? According to what we see from Spirit, is he hijacking national security to try and get through his voter ID bill? And if not, be able to, if he doesn't get his way, then of course claim that the elections were tampered with from international interference because the FISA Act was not in place. Here we go. We have the sun, the success that he is determined to have to get his voter ID bill passed. The magician, the machinations that he's going through, tweaking things to say, I know the nation needs somebody in this position. If Bill Pulte doesn't fit the bill, we got Jay Clayton ready to go, but I ain't gonna let you confirm him yet, right? That's the magician. He's working things out. Judgment is Congress, John Thune, head of the Senate, and others who are like, wow, essentially like, wow, he's actually going this far. He's gonna tie the voter ID bill to what is already technically expired, the International Surveillance Act. The world, now typically the world would indicate an end to something, or completion to something, or a new chapter of something. But I think this is, in a more literal context, Spirit is speaking to the fact that this exposes the U.S. without some form of, without a solidified surveillance program to mitigate foreign interference. That's the world, though literally the world. It opens up the U.S. to the world. We've got the high priestess for what could be done in surveillance, in secrecy, the mystery behind Trump's intentions, deliberate intentions to heighten the risks of foreign interference in elections. We have the Empress, the Emperor, I cannot believe this, the Hierophant government, the Emperor is from. The Empress is representing the U.S. interests in general, the American populace, and the call to make people show up with their voter IDs in order, not just to register for the first time, but for those who may have moved, may need to check your registrations and make sure that you're still where you're registered to vote with all of this redistricting that has occurred, right? People's polling places, etc., may have changed. And then if they go to, make sure that they are up to date in their registration, having to show that proof yet again to make sure their registration's like the whole gamut of this. And the Ace of Cups, Spirit confirming that is his intention, 100%. Look at all these major arcana came together on the bottom of the deck. Empress, Sun, Magician, Judgment, the World, the High Priestess, the Hierophant, and the Emperor. Never happened in my 30-some-odd years, y'all, of doing this, and certainly not while I've been here on the channel with you. So this is huge. This is friggin' huge. And I think what we're getting here is Spirit is saying the implications of this are not only serious in terms of the actual risk, from machinations aside, the actual risks to United States intelligence, right? And having that weakening, so to the extent that foreign adversaries or whatever want to try and make some moves, it's like carte blanche almost, right? Now, will Congress cave and give Trump what he wants with this voter ID situation, just in the name of getting national intelligence, getting Jay Clayton approved or confirmed? Is Congress going to cave? Are we going to see a passage of that voter ID bill? Will Congress cave to Trump? The Six of Cups, they're going to revisit it. And Death. Another major arcana, but maybe not. Six of Cups is to revisit the issue, perhaps to tweak it. This is also death ruled by Scorpio. This has to do with the midterms, the timing of the midterms. Are they gonna rise up against it? Will Congress hold fast and rise up against it? We have the Queen of Pentacles. That is somebody outspoken in Congress who fights this. It won't be John Thune, clearly. The Knight of Wands, it ignites a lot of resistance in Congress, because Trump is mad. You all have kept, many of you, you keep up on top of these issues. This has been going on. Trump's desire to try and get this voter ID passed has been for months now, and Congress has been resistant and said, no, we ain't doing it. Two of Swords, there's the conflict and there's the choice. But I don't think they're gonna go for it. Not with that death and the Six of Cups, revisiting the past, revisiting the stipulations. And this also feels like perhaps that in that Queen of Pentacles, there are states that will either file lawsuits or injunctions or something to stop that, to fight back against the voter ID bill. And the Ace of Swords, Spirit just gave me a yes on that. Yes, right? So the bottom line here is just be aware. This voter ID situation is about to amp up tremendously with the energy we're seeing from these major arcana. This is going to be a noose around, I hate to use that metaphor. Let's cancel that. This is going to be a problem for the GOP, right? For the GOP in Congress, a major problem. Because on the one hand, if something should go down, that puts the U.S. at risk, with foreign interference, that's gonna all blow back on them. It also blows back on Trump, though, right? I mean, he's the one who put all this in motion to try and delay. I don't think it's gonna work. I think that there's gonna be, I think that Congress is recognizing that this is beyond the issue of redistricting. This is point blank period, an effort to keep people from being able to vote. And who this impacts also is not just women and not just young folks and not just the military, but rural Americans, who many of whom do not have passports, etc. And that's going to affect his MAGA base, who's not going to be able to go out and vote for their candidates of choice, even if it's Republicans. That's a mess. That's a mess. But keep your eyes on that, all right? Second thing I want to look at today real quick is, so we have yet another secret society that's been on this dialogue thing with Peter Thiel. Some Swiss hacker managed to get their hands on the list of participants of this dialogue group from Peter Thiel. Apparently been in existence for a couple of decades. This ain't nothing new. This has been around. So Wired publication has come out and they published the list. Very interesting names on it. A couple of really disappointing names on this list of retreat members. This is apparently, or memberships in this dialogue. This is apparently an invite-only situation. And they are scheduled, from what we understand, to get together in Ireland this summer, August 12th through the 16th. Not sure who all is going or who all has gone in the past. That was not a part of the leak, but the leak did have names like Scott Bessent, Elon Musk, those you would expect associated with Peter Thiel. But also on their list were names like Cory Booker and, sadly, disappointingly, Wes Moore, governor of Maryland. Again, no hard and fast reporting or information on the extent to which they participated in this group in dialogue, but again, invite only. Apparently they accepted the invitation. Here's what I want to look at. Some of the stuff it really reminds you of Epstein 2.0, right? There are, at these retreats, there are topics being covered like, how's your sex life? Build a cult. Build a a cult. Topic of the retreat, how to build a cult. How's your sex life? There are, from what I understand, I made a note of it. One of the features of membership here is that you get some access to some sort of matchmaking service. Again, allegedly, reportedly, but this has been wired, apparently substantiated, before they went public with this Swiss hackers revelations. So there's this matchmaking situation. There are also things around World War III and preparation for that, right? Here's what I'm going to ask. Spirit, will there be consequences for this dialogue group? Will there be exposure and consequences for the exposure? Will it ultimately, I don't see it, I'm not getting it being dismantled, but there being a separation from it, especially among U.S. leaders and U.S. elected officials who recognize this is very, very, very not good. Because again, it points, how's your sex life? Build a cult. All right, we have Six of Cups. This was fun and games, twisted maybe, but this was fun and games for a lot of them. And this was, of course, access to money. All roads lead to access to money. This is Eight of Wands. I think we're going to hear more about it, more about who has been participating in it. And now that we've seen this list of names, I think this Eight of Wands is saying people are going to want to know, okay, you were a member, you accepted the invite. To what extent have you participated? And judgment, absolutely. Eyes are going to be on this thing, this dialogue situation. This ain't going nowhere no time soon. This is yet another situation, especially with these topics of this matchmaking and how's your sex life. Like literally a topic of this retreat. For what? Right? For what? Seven of Wands. There will be a lot of, and the devil, got it. And we know that the devil, especially when we're looking at a little something coming around hanky-panky, something twisted in the, in that matchmaking situation or whatever that is, the Epstein-esque kind of energy, you all get it. And the devil's all over that. All over that. Temptation, desire, being a little twisted, right? Also, the allure of being a part of a group like this, which was very much, again, Epstein-esque, right? That many of these billionaire people were the men, were into being a part of this exclusive enclave of people using their money and influence to do what they did, right? There it is again in the devil. And the Seven of Wands, there will be there's going to be a scramble especially for those who have participated in these retreats. Spirit, are we going to know more by the elections, when we know more about who was at these retreats with Thiel? The Six of Swords, somebody's going after that information. And the Ten of Wands, but it's going to be hard to get. And the Emperor. Trump's going to do everything he can to try and step in and help Peter Thiel and make it difficult for, we know that media outlets have been under attack in general anyway, right? So he's going to do everything he can to make it very difficult for Six of Swords, those journalistic entities that want to go after more information around this, especially for candidates who are perhaps up for re-election or up for election. And this thing has like gold foil on it, heart, and Six of Wands. I don't know that we will get a lot of definitive information in time for the elections, you all. And this feels like something that's going to take some time. Sixes can be ultimate victory and ultimate revelations around who exactly was at these retreats, which would of course impact their careers and and perhaps cause a lot of public embarrassment, maybe even impact them financially. But it's going to take some time. But really, really interesting. And the idea that what Thiel did was appeal not only, this wasn't just a MAGA situation. This wasn't just a similar, again, all this is like Epstein all over again, because that's what Epstein did with with the Bill Clintons of the world, etc. Not targeting Bill specifically, but you get the drift. This was not just about right wing twisted billionaire class out here doing twisted billionaire class kind of stuff, but this was across the board. This is about the money, but we're going to see more of it, so keep your eyes on that. All right, you all, thank you again. I hope it was helpful and gave you some things to think about. Lots of prayers around this voter ID situation, because he's doing everything possible, up to and including national security, putting national security, being willing to literally put national security at risk. The American surveillance part of that aside, because that's where I do think Congress is going to continue to fight, because it hurts them. Then their voters can't get out and vote, and they don't want that. All right? Let's see how it plays out. We'll go back and talk more about it. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you on Friday. All right? Chin up, shoulders back. Keep breathing. Helps if you hold it for a second or two before you exhale, right? It settles that nervous system down, all right? Sky above you, always. Earth beneath you, keeping you solid. And I will talk to you a little bit later. Bye.